Hey friends, my name is Yi and you're watching Yi Makes It Easy. And welcome to a new and second last video for IGCSE Business Studies, and today we have 6.2 for environmental and ethical issues. And by the end of the lesson, you should be able to describe 6.2.1 environmental concerns and ethical issues as both opportunities and constraints for a business. So check out the pinned comment for all the timestamps, and don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. And we'll move on to 6.2.1 environmental concerns and ethical issues, starting with how business activity has an impact on the environment. So consider these two statements by different factory managers. Number one, we have manager A. He said that, "I know that my factory pollutes the air and the river with waste products, but it is very expensive to use cleaner methods. And we make a profit from making cheap products, and these are what consumers want." Compared to manager B, where he said, we recently spent $10 million on new low energy boilers that produce 90% less pollution than the old ones. We now recycle 75% of our waste, and consumers prefer businesses that are aware of their social responsibility. So business activity aims to satisfy customers' demand for goods and services, but it often has an impact on the environment. And the environment means our natural world. So here we have some photos. Air pollution damages the environment. Dirty rivers are expensive to clean up. And road transport creates more noise, and air pollution adds to global warming. And then we have more for business activity. Here are some examples of how business activity impacts the environment. Number one, aircraft jet engine emission damage the atmosphere. Number two, pollution from factory chimneys reduces air quality. Number three, waste disposal can pollute rivers and seas. And number four, transport of goods by ships and trucks burns fossil fuels such as oil or crude oil, which create carbon emission and may be linked to global warming and climate change. So the word global warming means the average temperature rise in the earth, but if it's due to human activity, we tend to call it enhanced global warming. And here's more information. Which side do you come down in an argument of whether businesses should be concerned about environmental issues? We have argument A and argument B. We have argument A, which is basically why you shouldn't care about the environment, and argument B, where you should care about environment. So for argument A, protecting the environment can be expensive, but the counter argument is that global warming may pollute, and global pollution affect us and all of us around the world, and all businesses have a social responsibility to reduce the problems. And for number two, for argument A, the firms might have to increase prices to pay for environmental friendly policies. But the counter-argument for why you should care is that using scarce natural resources which are non-renewable, such as fossil fuel or rainforest timber, leaves less for the future generations and raises prices. Number three, for why you shouldn't care, is that this could make firms uncompetitive and they can lose sales. But for the counter-argument is that most scientists and environmentalists believe that the business activity can damage the environment permanently. Number four, for why you shouldn't care, is that consumers will buy less if they have to pay higher prices. But the counter-argument is that consumers are becoming more socially aware and responsible, and they are increasing the demand on green products or products that use renewable sources. And then we have for why you shouldn't care, that if pollution is a problem, then government should pay to clean it up. But what you should care about that is that if a business damages the environment, then then pressure groups could take action to harm the business reputation and sales. And lastly, for why you shouldn't care about why you shouldn't care about the environment is that some business owners claim there's not enough people or proof that business activity is doing permanent damage to the environment, and not enough people are proving that. So obviously you're trying to aim for being in argument B because we should care about the environment. So here's the concept of externalities. So most business activity location of a factory or producing goods and services lead to many different costs and benefits. And it is important to distinguish between private costs and benefits and external costs and benefits. And the following case study explains these differences. A business producing chemical plans to open a new factory and has chosen a site which it believes to be the most profitable one. And in coming to this decision, the managers considered only the costs and benefits to the business itself. And these are called the private costs and private benefits. And these are likely to be as follows. For private costs, that's the cost of land, cost of construction, labor costs, the cost of running the plant when it has been built, and the transport cost of materials and completed products. Then the private benefits include the money made from the sale of the chemical product. Then we have more information. And unfortunately, the site chosen is near a housing estate, and it is currently part of a park used by local residents. And waste products from the factory will be tipped into a local river or quarries, and the factory will create a lot of noise and fumes. And the area is one of the high level of unemployment, and people's income are below the national average. And before deciding whether or not to grant planning permission, the government will consider the external costs and external benefits, that is, the impact of the rest of the society other than the business itself. So external costs include waste product will cause pollution, smoke and fumes may damage the health of residents, parkland cannot now be used by local residents, and the noise from the factory will disturb the local neighborhood. And external benefits include jobs will be created, other businesses may move into the area to provide services into the chemical company, and the chemical factory will pay taxes and the government will receive the tax and will have high tax revenue. And the government will try to give a value to all of these costs and benefits, and this is called a cost-benefit analysis, and this is not an easy thing to do. For example, what is the cost of losing parkland for children to play on? And estimates are made and the total costs and benefits of the decision are added up together. And private costs added to the external costs give a total to the social costs. And private benefits added to the external benefits give a total social benefits figure. And if the total social benefits is greater than the total social costs, the scheme is likely to be accepted. If, however, the total social cost is greater than the total social benefit, so basically the bad one is greater than the good one, then the government is probably won't give the permission and won't allow the scheme to build it. Then we have sustainable development. So we can have a look at the following information about the world's demand for energy and carbon dioxide emission. We have the world energy demand and global population and carbon dioxide emission since 1900. And these graphs show us some of the problems that the world economic and population growth is resulting in. Many economists and environmentalists argue that this rapid rate of energy use, change, and pollution cannot continue if the world is to enjoy the same living standards as we have today. And using up scarce resources at a very fast rate will mean that there may be many fewer resources in the future. And creating so much pollution may lead to health and climate problems that put at risk of the well-being of millions of people and a lot of people around the world. And sustainable development means trying to achieve economic growth but without damaging the environment and society for future generations. So during sustainable development, you're trying to aim for using clean energy or renewable energy. Then we have what business can do for sustainable development. Number one, business can use renewable energy by fitting solar panels or buying energy that uses renewable sources. Number two, they could recycle waste by reusing water and other products that will otherwise be wasted or disposed of, and the total use of resources will be reduced. Number three, use fewer resources. Lean production is all about managing production so efficiently that the minimum quantity of resources is used. So use fewer resources and more effectively. And number four, develop new environmentally friendly products and production methods. For example, replacing drink cans and bottles with biodegradable packaging that will not damage the environment. And by using these production methods which allow for sustainable development for businesses, businesses respond positively to environmental pressures and opportunities. Then we have how and why business might respond to environmental pressures and opportunities. So how can society make business give the environment a higher priority? There are three main influences, which includes number 1, consumers, number 2, pressure groups, and number 3, government through legal controls. And for consumers, bad publicity is bad news, and if a business is reported as destroying the natural site, then many consumers would stop buying its products, and an increasing proportion of consumers are becoming concerned about the environment, and the businesses obviously want to sell goods profitably, and if sales of a product fall because consumers think it is harmful to nature, then the business may have to quickly change its products or its production methods. Then we have pressure groups. Pressure groups are becoming more and more increasingly powerful, and they can take away some very effective actions against businesses that are not socially responsible. Pressure groups such as Greenpeace and Earth First have tried to block up businesses with waste pipes or organize consumers' boycotts. Then we have more for pressure groups. And pressure group activity is likely to change business actions when it has a popular public support and receives much media coverage. Number 2, consumer boycotts result in much reduced sales for the business. And number 3, the group is well organized and financed. And pressure group activity is unlikely to result in a change in the business action when, number 1, what the firm is doing is unpopular but not illegal, such as testing drugs on animals. Number 2, the cost to the business of changing its method is more than the possible cost of poor image and lost sales. And number 3, the business sells to other businesses rather than to consumers, and public pressure will be less effective as there's no potential for consumer boycott. And then we have the role of legal controls over business activity affecting the environment. And governments can make business activity illegal, for example, locating in environmentally sensitive areas such as national parks, or dumping waste products into rivers or ocean or sea, and making products that cannot be easily recycled. And manufacturers often complain that these laws make it more expensive for them to produce, and this raises prices to consumers. For this reason, some governments do not pass strict laws on the environment, hoping that this will encourage firms to produce in their country to create jobs. But do you think this is socially responsible for a business to locate in a country that doesn't have strict laws on protecting the environment? And that's something to think about. Then his governments can impose financial penalties on businesses such as pollution permits. And pollution permits are licenses to pollute up to a certain level, and governments can sell a permit to a factory that produces pollution, and if it produces more pollution than the permit allows, it must either buy more permits from clean businesses or pay large fines. Either way, the cost of the business increases, and businesses producing much less pollution can sell their permits to dirty factories, and this encourages businesses to produce goods in less polluting ways. And other financial penalties could be additional taxes on goods or factories that create pollution. And these three influences help to explain why many businesses now respond to environmental pressures, and being environmentally friendly can create a positive public opinion of a business and lead to opportunities for sustainable growth. And here's ethical issues a business might face. Should businesses always do the right thing? And should businesses always take the decisions that are fair and moral? And should business ever, number 1, offer bribes to government officials or people working for other businesses to gain secret information? Employ child workers, even though it's not illegal in some countries? Buying supplies that have led to damage to the environment? Agree to high fixed prices with competitors? Number 5, pay directors large bonuses and owners of a business large profits payouts. And all of these are examples of ethical decisions that many businesses may have to face up to very frequently. And people can have very different answers to the questions above. And this is because people have very different opinions of the moral codes and therefore different ethical standards. And the two most extreme views are, number 1, as long as the business doesn't deliberately break the law, then the decision, any decision it makes is acceptable, and businesses may want to make profits after all. And number 2, the opposite end is that even if certain activities are not illegal, it is unethical and therefore wrong to do them despite any increase in profits that might occur. And then we have how business might react and respond to ethical issues. And assume large multinational companies or like multinational clothing business, company X, bought clothes from the factory in a low-income country, and the managers of company X know that the factory employs child labor, and it is not illegal to employ workers as young as 12 years old in the country it is based in. And another business, company Y, only buys clothes from suppliers who guarantee not to employ children and pay reasonable wages and offer good working conditions. And company Y managers check that suppliers keep to these standards. And what is the potential impact on company Y of this ethical decision? So like for potential benefits and for ethical decisions for company Y, that consumers may be against buying clothing products made by children and increase purchases from company Y and reduce for company X. And there will be good publicity for company Y's ethical decisions and will provide free promotion, but company X may suffer from bad publicity. However, the potential limitations of ethical decisions for company Y is that there will be higher costs as adult workers will be paid more. And number 2, companies Y prices might have to be higher than those of company X because of higher costs as we talk about here. And here's more benefits and limitations. For benefits, there will be long-term profits for company Y, like the long-term profits could be increased, and some workers and investors may want to be linked to an ethical business, which is company Y, and you may find it easier to recruit the best workers and raise capital from the investors. And lastly, there's less risk of legal action being taken against company Y. However, the potential limitations of ethical decisions for company Y is that if consumers are only interested in paying low prices and not how products are made, then the sales of company Y could fall. Number 2, short-term profits of company Y may fall. Number 3, it could be argued that in some countries, if children are not employed, the incomes of the families will fall to very low levels. And lastly, here's some definitions for 6.2 of environmental and ethical issues. So number 1, we have social responsibility. And social responsibility is when a business decision benefits stakeholders other than shareholders. For example, a decision to protect the environment by reducing pollution by using the latest and the greenest production equipment. Number 2 is environment. Environment is our natural world, including, for example, pure air, clean water, and undeveloped countryside. Number 3, global warming. Global warming is a gradual increase in the overall temperature of the Earth's atmosphere, and it's generally thought to be caused by increased level of carbon dioxide, CFC or chlorofluorocarbons, and other pollutants in the atmosphere. Then we have pressure group. A pressure group is made up of people who want to change a business or government decision by taking action, such as organizing consumers' boycotts. Then we have private costs. Private costs of an activity are the costs paid for by a business or the consumer of the product. Private benefits. Private benefits of an activity are the gains to a business or the consumers of the product. External costs. External costs are costs paid for by the rest of the society other than the business as a result of business activity. External benefits. External benefits are the gains to the rest of the society other than the business as a result of a business activity. Social costs. And social costs equals external costs plus private costs. And social benefit equals external benefits plus private benefits. Then we have sustainable development. And sustainable development is development which doesn't put at risk the living standards of the future generation. And pressure groups. Pressure groups are groups of people who act together to try to force businesses or governments to adopt a certain policy. Consumer boycott. A consumer boycott is when consumers decide not to buy products from a business that doesn't act like socially responsible. And lastly, ethical decisions. Ethical decisions are based on the moral code and sometimes referred to as doing the right thing. And that's it for this video for 6.2 of IGCSE Business Studies for today. We look into environmental and ethical issues. And I hope you all found it useful and helpful, and if you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. And if you have any comments or constructive criticisms, just drop them off in the comment section and I'll reply to them. And check out my Instagram in the description, and check out my new website in the description as well. Or you can type it out in your browser at MakesItEasy.com. And I hope you all find it useful and helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, stay safe and happy learning.